Hey there, YouTubers. Me again. Me, David Essig. In case you don't know the name, gonna be working on the old Cadillac. No fuel getting from the tank to the engine, and I'll show you in a second exactly how I figured that out. But we're gonna pull the fuel sending unit and the fuel pump out of this car. Now, here's the sticky wicket. There's a right way, there's the wrong way, which is very dangerous, and then there's the Dave way. That's me. I have found a way to do this job fast, easy, and key word here, safe. Okay? There's a video back where I did a fuel pump for a gentleman, and he did this to his car, and it worked great, but it looked horrible. It was a butcher job and a half. Of course, you can't tell. So we're going to take that a little further, go the same route, but we're going to do it a little bit neater, a little bit cleaner, and then we're going to make it safe, okay? Because we don't want to blow anybody up, especially myself, okay? So let me show you real quick how I came to the conclusion that the fuel pump is what's bad, and then we're going to go into how I'm going to do this. If you do it the right way is you got to drop the whole rear suspension to get the gas tank out. And then you run the risk of brake lines and fuel lines and God knows what else getting broken, destroyed, or messed up. We're going to try to avoid all that. You know, if this was a $100,000 car or a $100,000 classic, yep, I'm probably going to go the route of doing it the right way because I don't want to butcher a car. But for this particular application, this is not a collectible. It's hit a couple of deer in its lifetime. It may be a collectible someday, but it is a four-door, but they're becoming more popular. But after hitting a few deer, it's going to need a little more than repairing what we're about to do. Okay, and then actually we can repair what I'm about to do very, very easily. In fact, we're going to repair it, sort of. Okay, so now that I've got you super curious on what exactly I'm going to do, that almost didn't come out right. Almost exactly what I'm going to do. Let's start with diagnosis, and then we'll get into the fast, easy, and safe way to do it. Before we go changing a fuel pump, we want to make sure that we don't have any fuel. And so what I've done is I pulled this cap off, and it's on a Schrader valve back here. Now you can't really see, you might be able to see my thumb, but it's up underneath the cowl and you can barely get your fingers on it, and you want to just push that Schrader, and if there's no gas, there's no gas. So this one there's no gas, so we're going to go ahead and change out the pump. Now it is hotter than my wife's new bikini in here. So I've got all the doors open, all the windows open to get as much air as we can get through here. I mean, I think it's in the 90s today. So yeah, we're going to be working inside a car, in the sun, in 90-degree weather. Great. Okay, let's get started. One thing I'm thankful for is this is not like the old school cars. Old school cars used to have to get in, push in, and up, and they had a spring that had to kind of go in and back and up. But these just pop right out. Yeehaw! The hardest part is getting the seat belts out, which, as you saw, wasn't really all that hard. Now, I'm probably going to have to get you in here to see all this, but I'm going to clear some of this debris, these stuff. Ooh, there's water in here, not good. Some of this insulation, I'm going to just get it out of the way. Come on, baby. There we go. That ought to be enough, I think. Maybe. Yeah. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the fuel pump is right in here somewhere. Alright. So I'm going to bring you all in here, and we're going to get started in here. Now, to my knowledge, which may be flawed, this doohickey, this hole, is centered to where the sending unit is, okay? So what I want to do is I want to drill a hole here, but I want a very shallow hole. If I go too deep, I can go into the tank, which I do not want to do. So what I've done is I've put a hose, a rubber hose, on my drill and only allowing like a 1/4 inch to stick out. So that way I can just drill 1/4 inch hole deep and that's it. Now I've seen people do a similar thing and they always seem to open it this way, like a flap like this. I think what I'm going to do is, because there's some sensitive hoses and stuff over here, is I'm going to cut it this way and I'm going to open it this way. I think that would be the best way. So I'm going to put a hole right here. Here we go. Ooh, that's hot. And if I'm not mistaken, I picked up a little bit of plastic from the tank. So I'm going to shorten my hose a little bit more. That's going in too deep. So I'm going to adjust my hose. I'm going to get a slightly longer one. This should have plenty of clearance. I wonder if I could just see. I think this is where the doodah is, and I'm thinking that if I cut in here, we might be okay. I'm going to try that, I think. So let's go here. Oh, that's perfect. Look at that. Lots of room, lots of room. So we're going to go here, do the same thing. Lots of room, lots of room. We're happy, happy, happy. Lots of room, lots of room. Now, I don't know if this is going to give me enough room to work with, but I was going to cut it here, because I've watched some videos, and that's where they cut, but they've always cut into the tank, which I found very dangerous. So this, I've made a couple of little dimples, nothing that's going to harm anything. But now, I know how far I can go. I probably should have hit this with an awl first. There we go. Now that's just, I can see the tank. I've got plenty of room to cut, and we'll see just where we're at. Now, we don't want to create sparks, so I have an air hammer with a tip that is made for sheet metal. See that tip? Now, I couldn't find it in any store. I had to order it. But, and my old air hammer died, because I just don't use them anymore. This is not a tool I use very often. And it doesn't want to spin in there. So, I'll take it back out, I guess. Put it in straight. Alright. Now we're going to get this in here. There we go. Pull the hammer. And maybe go turn my compressor on. Alright, we're just going to make a straight line all the way across. Ready? Uh-oh, I feel like I'm hitting something. I don't want to hit nothing. We're going to be very cautious. I don't see anything. there was a wire there. Hopefully I didn't cut it, but if I did, we can fix that. That's the good thing about this tool, is it really shouldn't cut anything but metal. If it hits plastic, it might gouge into the plastic, but I'm guessing I can see it, it's right here. So we have more than enough room to do what we got to do. Now there is some wiring, there's some hoses here, so I probably cut way more than I needed to. We're gonna have to go this way, I reckon. I apologize if you can't see what I'm doing here, because I got my arm in the way. Let's make sure, no, looking good. I'm going to get a little oil, and that ought to help this move a little. I'm going to put a squirt of oil. Well, there we go. That should make it a little easier. I believe so. Nope, still wanting to go. We're almost there, but it's fighting me because I can't. You need to kind of push up on it, and I can't because I'm hitting here. So that's going to be a little bit of a snafu with this particular tool. I don't want to use a cutoff wheel because this is a gas tank, and I can see the sending units right here. So that's the snafu of it all. So we're good with this, what we did here, but this is just going to be hard because of the angle. We just had to put a little bit of the old bicep into it. Now, I cut a little too far back on this one. I don't think we have to go back that far. We do not. Well, we probably need to come back a tiny bit more. Well, maybe not. But you see all these lines and stuff? That's why you don't want to use a cutoff wheel, because you'll cut through something. This is the wire I was worried about. Actually, it's not even a wire. It's a lock. We're going to need to roll this back a little bit. No problem. It'll all go back where it needs to. I don't think we need to roll this one, but we're going to. Alright. Well, I was wrong. It's not lined up completely with this. It's to the well, if you're sitting in the car driving, it would be to the left, but towards the center of the car more, but only slightly. But you're very safe as long as you're cutting up inside this hump. Do not cut down in here because you'll be in the tank, okay? Now, I have no pressure, so I'm not worried about getting squirted in the face. Alright, I don't know how good of a view you're going to get on these, but I'm going to try to pull it up and show you. I had to get my screwdriver and get it in here and just pop these loose. I actually have a tool supposed to go in there, but I couldn't get the tool in there because it was so tight. If you had the tank out, yeah, you could do it, but I was able to get my little screwdriver inside of here and pop those two clips and get it to pull out. Now, we've got to take the wiring off, so we just got to pull this straight up. It's just a lock. Then you take this little tab, just kind of slide this back. Now, I did spill some gas, so see, if you were trying to cut with any kind of sparkulator thing, you know, anything that made sparks or fire, this would be bad, right? So that tool worked perfectly. It was a little bit hard on the corner here, but we did good. So this is ready to come out. Now there's a locking ring right here, and we have to turn it, which I have to get a bigger screwdriver because I'm not going to be able to turn this by hand. And we're going to turn this ring until it comes to the bigger section, and we can pop it right out. Okay, now fun part is these nozzles are kind of covering all the areas we can hammer, but we're going to find one over here in the corner. This is a blunt chisel. If you see that it's got no sharpness to it, it actually fits in my air hammer, but we're going to use it with a regular hammer because the air hammer I think is going to be too aggressive. So we're just going to kind of tappity with it. Well, it took a very large screwdriver and a very big hammer to finally get this collar off, but I finally got this collar off. Now, because I didn't give myself a ton of room in here, we've got to try to muscle this collar out of here. There we go. No, wiring is always in the way. Now we get this out of here, pulling this up, and you're just going to have to wrestle with that too because it's a whole mechanism. It's got to come out this little bitty hole, and I can't see nothing. So we're just going to kind of worm this out of here. That hole don't get no bigger, so we're just going to have to. Boy, and this tank is full too. That's great. Fantastic, I always say. There we go. It's coming. Oh, it's breaking. Come on, baby. There we go. Jeepers crow. It's always when the tank is full. Yeah, well, it's gonna. It has a line on it right here. What the heck is this all about? Alright, that pulls off of there. And let's see what the new one looks like. This line has to come off. I'm afraid if I pull it off, it's going to go away forever. So I kind of want to get the other one in this place instead. How much of this is on the new one? Do I connect? Let's go see what we got on the new one. See how much of this we have to take apart. Always when the tank is full. That is so great. Nope, not at all. I got a bag of parts. There's a new gasket. So we're going to open this up. Now this connector is different. So I'm going to have to rewire. We're going to have to do some splicing, and it's got directions, believe it or not. So I guess this one's going to be a little bit different. But we got to put the gasket on right here. Now, what I'm going to do before we get it too crazy, I'm going to go ahead and oil this gasket up. I'm going to put some transmission fluid on it, get it nice and greasy. Actually, I might put it on first, and then we'll get it nice and greasy, because I want it to just slide right in. We don't want to have to wrestle with it like I did getting it off. Man, that thing was like welded in. So we want it to stick up here, but when we slide it in, we want it to just pop into place. So I'm going to get a little bit of oil. We're going to lube that up, and then we'll be good on that. The new one does not have that hose on the bottom. So we have to pull this thing off of the bottom here. And this thing's falling apart. No wonder it didn't work. This is just a squeeze and pull. guess I don't have my glasses. I can't see nothing. Here's my glasses. All right. So, yeah, squeeze right here. If I can get it, and just pull it out. My hands in the gas. That's great. It's at an awkward angle. That's also great. Oh, wait a minute. You know, it is a squeeze, but it's also got these little doodads here, so I'm going to get my screwdriver and I'm going to pop these in like I did. Golly. Like I did on the other one. This one my tool might work on. You probably can't see nothing. Nope, it's got too many stuff in the way. That's crazy the way this thing's designed. Where am I? Oh. Honestly, I could probably just bust this other crap out of the way so you can see. Well, I had a little screwdriver somewhere in here. That's how I got everything else apart. There it is. So we want to get this off of here. Yeah. These things pop on nice and easy, but boy, when they come off, they're a pain in the butt. It looks like you just squeeze it and it'll pop out. We'll try it with some pliers. I don't want to lose it into the tank, so I'll never get it back out. Oh, great. Oh, stupid. It's always the tank's got to be full when you're doing this stuff. That's just the prerequisite of the game. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. Play your guitar on your MTV. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. Them guys ain't fun. Maybe get a blister on your little finger. Maybe get a blister on your thumb. That side came out, I think. Now it's time for that side. I'm going to drop it in here, I know it, and then I'm going to have to go fishing for it. I just know it. It looks like maybe I got it. Yes, I got it. Now, get this thing out of the way. And get this thing in the way. Just kind of push it in here. Did it catch? Yep, it caught. Alright. And we tuck our float in there. It just seems like that one went in a lot easier. It seems like there's something wrong with putting electrical things in a puddle of gas. I don't know. Does it seem wrong to anybody else?
Okay, what's going on here? It's got to go in this way, and it rocks. It's on the bottom. So what the heck? Let's get these guys out of the way here. Come on, girls. Somehow, some way, this is supposed to go in here. But I don't see how. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't wanna go because it's hitting the bottom of the tank. Something wrong. Hey, look at the old one. Oh, my knees are killing me. The other one was sitting like this. That's how this one is right now. Oh, I see, it's on springs. Oh boy, okay. Yep, you gotta compress the springs. That's fun. Alright, now we have to get this ring back in there. Now, I don't know how, but somehow I've got this in here backwards. Those springs are not much fun. It's kind of a bugger, I'm going to tell you. These things are in the way. Everything's in the way. Come on. These fuel lines, they want to get in the way. Everything is in the way. There we go. Let's do this. Let's get it on here. There we go. And then we'll compress the spring. Okay, come on. Oh, it was compressed. Come on, baby. There we go. Alright, get these fuel lines out of the way. And line that up. There we go, you gotta line those stupid things that I couldn't get off. This is fuel line in the way. You gotta make sure they're not. Yep, that one's catching. There we go. Now that one's out of the way. Come on. Now that one's catching. Dang, well, that one's on actually. Alright, let's see. Everything's out of the way momentarily. It's got to turn a little bit. There we go. Then turn your ring. There we go. Once the ring catches, then you got to go through the same rigmarole you went through trying to get it off, but we're going to do it a lot easier. Got that caught. Just the reverse. Man, it was hard getting it off. Really hard. Okay, we're going to get these lines caught, so Yeah, they pop on really easy. It's just a bugger to get off. Is that one on? Yep, that one's on. You'd swear they're going to leak the way they go on, but... Alright, let's go ahead and plug this in. I want to just at least get this thing rolling. Okay, and then we're going to have to go to the directions, and we're going to have to cut and splice, which I hate to do. But they gave us connectors, which I hate to do. Let's see what the directions say. The good news is GM vehicles are almost always black and gray for the power on the pump. Okay, so here's black and gray. This one also has black and gray. The other way to tell is the power wires will power the pump wires will be thicker. And these are thicker than these. And this gray and black is just barely thicker than the blue and the brown. Now, the most we're going to screw up here is the sending unit, because black and gray is our power, so black and gray is our power. Purple is almost always the positive side of the sending unit, and whatever other color, or orange with a black stripe can be that, is almost always the ground for it. Now this does not have either. So we have a 50-50 chance of getting those two right, but it can also be yellow with a stripe, which we don't have any yellows at all. Or the ground can be black with an orange stripe, we don't have that. Green, it can be blue. Well, actually it's supposed to be blue with a black stripe, but so all we have is blue and brown, which doesn't go at all with any of the things that I know. So we're going to have to wing those two, but a blue wire can be the sender ground. So we're going to call blue purple. The worst that'll happen is the sender won't work. And what I'll do is we'll test it, because we can get to it nice and easy now, so it's not like we took it all apart, put it back together, and now we're screwed. So now we got to do the scariest part of all. Sometimes you can take these apart and just pull them loose, but then you're still going to have the prongs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to snip this far enough back so that I can reuse this particular connector if I need to. If I ever buy another pump for this car, then, and it has the right connector, because we got this one from, I don't know, from the internet, so you know it's got to be right. Nope, probably not. So, and I'm going to leave these nice and long, so let's just go ahead and strip these. I want to make sure we make sparks too, because we have a lot of gas around here. And so if we have a lot of gas on it, we know for sure we can start a fire. Then I don't have to worry about it being right. Alright, as long as we don't turn the key on. You're supposed to disconnect the battery first. I guess I should have said that, but I didn't. So that was my bad. But yes, just for the record, always disconnect your battery. I might have to, in my introduction, I might have to go back and say, disconnect your battery first. But I didn't, so that's on me. Alright, now that we've got those trimmed back, we're going to do this one. There's not a lot of room in here, so I'm kind of breaking my back. These are the ones you don't want to break, because you break these, you're screwed. You'll be rewiring the whole car. Alright, now that my back is officially broken, I guess I can kneel, but my knees aren't much better than my back, so. Oh, there we go. Alright, now we have pains in the knees instead. This is why I have lifts in the garage, but we don't have lifts out here in the driveway, and I cannot get to this one. There we go. Alright, we got blue, which is a little bit larger, and we have pink, which is smaller. So let me guess. Pink is going to be for the sending unit, and blue is going to be for our pump. So at least we can get to this stuff fairly easy. Make sure that's good and tight. Good and tight. Alright, so black. Gonna go with black. Black is black. I always like to twist them a little and they kind of intertwine with the other one. That's kind of how I like to do things, but I don't always get to do things the way I want to do things. Alright. 1 down, 3 to go. Now it's your turn, Mr. Gray. That's funny because I work with a woman named Gray. Spelled just like the color. I have to use 2 hands to squish this thing. It really puts a heavy-duty crimp on it. I don't know if I really feel like energizing this thing tonight with all this gas spill on here. Could be very bad. So I think I might let this thing air out overnight, and we'll finish this video in the morning when there's not so much vapor inside the car. Golly. Gotta have Conan hands. Okay, so we got 2 down. We'll wrap them in black tape, make them look pretty later. So did we say we were going with blue to purple? Sure. Sounds good to me. Purple, 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 purple. Come on. Now I know wiring is very, very exciting. However, if you do what I did and you bought a kit or you bought a pump and it's not the exact replacement, you're screwed if you don't know how to wire it, right? So we got a 50-50 chance. Oh, I hate saying that because anytime there's a 50-50 chance, I always mess it up. I am not a man with luck at all. What skill I have gets me through because I have no luck. Now, I am a praying man, but I don't like to bother God with such things. He's way too busy. Not that he wouldn't help me out. It's just, you know, it's like going to the president to pay a parking ticket. It doesn't seem right, you know. I save God for the big things, you know. When things are going really bad, that's when I need him. I have occasionally been really aggravated working on a car and prayed about it. And he does answer. I can't say he doesn't. And he helps me out. But, and I'm probably going to have to pray to get this collar on. I just hate to bother him with such things. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. All right. Some people are like, hey, I ask God for everything. Well, I guess you can. I just feel bad, you know. He's got other things more important to do, you know, than worry about me wiring a car. Now, if it came down to blowing myself up, well, yeah, I'd expect him to help me out there. You know what I mean? So there we go. But anyway, enough talk about needing God to wire a car. But we got this one going in. This is the last one. And get my crimper on there. Crimp away. That's pretty tight. Okay. Now this stupid thing doesn't... Now I can probably get... this loom over these connectors, which would be nice. So I'm going to try to do that. I need to cut this stupid doohickey here off of here. Yeah, let's just... I wish I had cut that off earlier. That's stupid. It's going to be in the way now. In the way, in the way, in the way. We can push it all the way up. There we go. We're getting there. Weimer. You know, I hate wiring. How many of you hate wiring? Yeah, me too. I hate wiring. But I would like to get this loom back on here. And that'll protect the wiring somewhat. We can put a little bit of black tape on the rest of it, you know. I'm not going to get all of these in the loom, that's for darn sure. In fact, I'm probably done right here. Get the one. Yep, that's about all that's going in there is the one. So let's get some, well, let's leave it bare. God, I hate to fire this up. I think I'm going to wait till tomorrow, let this air out, let this gas evaporate, and we will test this in the morning when it's not a fireball. Keep your earballs focused on this. I'm going to go ahead and turn the ignition on, and I'm going to prime it a couple of times by turning the ignition on, off, off. But listen for this to see if you can hear it pumping or if we see any leaks suddenly appear. So just keep your old earlobes open. Hear that? I don't see any leaks. Now, if you remember, the thing I was worried about is whether or not the gas gauge was going to be working right. So let's turn that on and see if it works. Well, there it goes. All the way to full, which it should. Yeehaw! Now that I've confirmed that the pump is working, because you and I both heard it, I'm going to go ahead and put the flap down. Now, the right way to do it would be to put the flap down and re-weld. Weld a new plate. Either re-weld this or weld a new plate, or screw in an access plate would be a nice idea too. Okay, but then I told you the Dave way, right? Welding is obviously dangerous, right? I'm not going to do welding. So we're going to just tape it in, okay? But we're not going to use just ordinary tape. First of all, we need to get this back down where it belongs. So we're going to just kind of tap it down in there where it belongs. Okay, and then we're going to bend this back over where it belongs. Okay. Have to break this little booger off of here because it's going to get in the way. Alright, well, it's not cooperating, so we're going to have to make it cooperate. There we go. All of this should match up pretty good. This is the kind of tape we're going to use. This is called mastic. And mastic is basically a insulated type tape. It's made for air conditionings, heating units, and if you expose it to flame, like in a gas heating unit, it will not burn. So that's why we're going to use it, because God forbid we had a fire, it would not get through this tape. So rather than having to go through all that rigmarole, having to put in a plate of any kind, or screw in a plate and take a chance of running a screw through the gas tank and or welding and catching ourselves on fire or any of the above, we can just put on tape. Tape this bad boy into place. Now, I'm not going to lie, when you go to pull this tape off in the future, it isn't going to be easy. You can use a razor knife and just cut through it again back into these holes. That would probably be your best idea, because this stuff, once you put it in, it does not come off very easily. So, but see how nicely it's just going to cover up the holes and it secures it pretty tight too. Look at that, it's not even budging. So we're just going to keep doing this till all our sins are covered. Alright, so this is the safest, bestest, well, not the bestest, but the easiest way to do this. Now, if you've got a show car, or if you have, a car that's worth a lot of money, then by all means do it the right way and pull that suspension out. But if you're like me and you just want to get the car done and running, I'm going to cover up these little holes too. Even though they only go right into the tank, we're still going to cover them up. This stuff still even sticks to dirt, believe it or not. There's some dirt on this floor, and it's just sticking right to it anyway. But I'm not going to lie, this stuff ain't cheap. It's, you're going to spend, on a roll like this, you're probably looking at 50 bucks. So we don't use it for much, except for stuff like this. And but overall, this is still much, much easier than pulling out the whole rear suspension, pulling the gas tank. And if we pulled the gas tank and then we weren't sure about the wiring, like I wasn't on this one, you wouldn't be able to test it like I did with it still accessible. So this is really a great idea all the way around. I think it gives you an access door for the future, because if you keep this car very long, then you're going to want to, in the future you'll probably end up pulling this out again. So this way, it's super duper easy. And there you go, look at that. It's pretty solid too. So we're good to go. I reckon we ought to put all the insulation back where it was and all that good stuff, and then put the back seat in. I don't know, most of you, if I'm not wrong, are not going to sit and watch this video into the putting the seat back in, because what's the point, right? Because it's going to be monotonous, and this is not going to be fun, because I'm already seeing it's going to fight me because of the seat belts. And this has to go up here, and this has to go over here, this has to go under here. I guess this goes around the belt. I probably should have paid closer attention. But yeah, whatever. That's good enough. The seat will go over it. This is just so you don't hear the pump running. And we'll throw the seat back in.
I hope this video helped you out. If it did, please subscribe. And thanks for watching. That's all I got to say. See ya.